The shock that started it all. It was supposed to be the happiest day of her life. White roses lined the pews. Guests were laughing. The string quartet played softly as the groom adjusted his tie, checking his watch again and again. But at exactly 2:47 p.m., a text came through that would change everything. It was from the bride. Her message was short, chilling, and final. Don't come looking. Within minutes, the ceremony turned from celebration to chaos. And within hours, Hannah Pierce, a 28-year-old kindergarten teacher from Maplewood, Vermont, vanished without a trace. Hannah was the kind of woman people described as sunshine in human form. She was patient, nurturing, always ready to lend a hand. She'd been teaching at Maplewood Elementary for 5 years, loved coffee more than sleep, and spent her weekends volunteering at the local animal shelter. Her fiancé, Ryan Caldwell, was her college sweetheart, a carpenter known for his easy smile and quiet demeanor. They'd met at the University of New Hampshire, dated for 6 years, and finally decided to tie the knot after Ryan proposed on a snowy Christmas Eve in front of her family. The town was small, just under 9,000 residents, where everyone knew everyone. And everyone knew Hannah and Ryan were perfect together. Or at least, that's what they thought. Their wedding was planned down to the smallest detail. An intimate affair at a renovated barn on the edge of town, with fairy lights strung across oak beams and a live band ready to play their first dance song. Can't help falling in love. But as the guests waited for the bride to walk down the aisle, Hannah never came. When the first few minutes passed, no one worried. Maybe she's fixing her makeup, her maid of honor joked. But 10 minutes became 20, and then someone checked her phone. That's when the message came through on Ryan's phone. Don't come looking. No explanation. No emoji. Just those 3 words. At first, everyone thought it was a prank, a bad case of pre-wedding nerves. But when calls went unanswered and Hannah's phone pinged off a cell tower 30 miles away, panic set in. Her car, a blue Subaru Crosstrek, was missing from the parking lot. Her wedding dress was gone. Her overnight bag was gone. And Hannah Pierce was gone. By nightfall, local police had issued a missing persons alert, and search teams began combing the rural roads leading out of town. Detective Ellen Morris, a seasoned investigator with the Vermont State Police, was called in the next morning. She'd seen dozens of missing person cases, but something about this one felt off from the start. This wasn't a runaway bride, she told reporters. It felt more like a message, a warning. Police began interviewing everyone at the wedding: friends, family, vendors, and of course, the groom. Ryan seemed devastated. In every interview, he broke down in tears. I don't know why she'd leave, he said. She was so happy this morning. We talked about our honeymoon. I don't understand. But investigators weren't satisfied. Something about Ryan's calmness, the way he repeated the same phrases, almost rehearsed, made Ellen dig deeper. 2 days later, Hannah's car was found parked at a rest stop off I-91, 45 miles north of Maplewood. The driver's seat was pushed all the way back, too far for her height. Inside, police found her bouquet on the passenger seat, a half-empty coffee cup, her cell phone tucked between the seats. When they turned it on, there were no new messages, just the last outgoing text to Ryan. Don't come looking. But digital forensics soon revealed something odd. The message hadn't been sent from the area near the rest stop. It had been sent from a different cell tower, one located near Ryan's construction site, 5 miles from their shared home. That changed everything. When police obtained a warrant to search Ryan's home, they discovered the first crack in the perfect love story. In the master bedroom, investigators found a hidden folder in Hannah's email labeled "Keep Safe." Inside were messages to a close friend, Lena Moore, her maid of honor. One message, dated 3 weeks before the wedding, read, Lena, something's not right. Ryan's been different lately. He keeps checking my phone and says I don't need to go anywhere without him. I'm scared to even bring it up. Another, sent just 5 days before the wedding. If something happens to me, don't believe it was my choice to leave. When Ellen read those lines, her heart sank. It was no longer a missing person case. It was starting to look like something much darker. Ryan's alibi was that he'd been at his workshop the entire morning, finishing a custom-made bench for their home. But surveillance footage from a nearby gas station told a different story. At 9:43 a.m., just hours before the ceremony, Ryan's truck was caught on camera driving toward the old Maple Creek Quarry, an area abandoned years ago. And in the back of his truck, a large, white garment bag. When police confronted him with the footage, Ryan claimed it was a wedding prop he'd forgotten about. But detectives noticed his hands shaking and sweat forming on his forehead. A search warrant for the quarry was issued immediately. For 2 days, police combed through the overgrown site, using drones, dogs, and divers. At the bottom of a shallow pond, divers discovered pieces of white fabric tangled in branches. It wasn't much, but when tested, it matched the material from Hannah's missing wedding dress. Nearby, buried under wet soil, investigators found something else. A phone case, pink with a cracked corner, the same one Hannah had. But inside the case wasn't her phone. It was a different SIM card entirely. Someone had swapped it out. When digital experts recovered fragments of deleted data from the SIM, they discovered messages, ones that had been sent after Hannah's disappearance. Messages that had been crafted and timed by someone else. It was Ryan. He had used her phone to send that haunting message. Don't come looking. When Ryan was brought in for a second round of questioning, the tone changed. Ellen confronted him with the evidence, the camera footage, the messages, the email trail. For hours, he denied everything. Then finally, he broke down. He confessed. According to his statement, Hannah had confronted him 2 days before the wedding. She'd found out he had been having an affair, not with a random woman, but with her younger sister, Emily. Emily had recently moved in with them after losing her apartment, and Hannah had discovered messages on Ryan's laptop. The night before the wedding, Hannah told him it was over, that she'd tell everyone the truth. Ryan claimed it was an accident, that she'd fallen and hit her head during an argument. But evidence told a different story. He had strangled her. Then, in a panic, staged the text message and dumped her body near the quarry, thinking it would look like she'd run away. But the case didn't end there. When investigators questioned Emily, she admitted to the affair but swore she had no idea what Ryan had done. Still, her behavior raised eyebrows. Phone records showed she'd received several late-night calls from Ryan in the days after Hannah's disappearance. And when detectives searched her apartment, they found Hannah's engagement ring hidden in a jewelry box. Emily broke down, crying uncontrollably. She confessed that Ryan had brought it to her, saying, "It's over now. We can start fresh." She claimed she kept it out of guilt, not because she helped him. In the end, Emily wasn't charged with complicity, but the scandal destroyed her reputation and drove her out of town. Ryan Caldwell was charged with first-degree murder, evidence tampering, and obstruction of justice. During his trial, the courtroom was packed every day. The prosecution painted a picture of manipulation, jealousy, and premeditated deceit. They showed how Ryan had used Hannah's trust against her, even in her final moments. The defense argued temporary insanity, claiming emotional stress led to an impulsive act. But when the jury saw the quarry footage and read Hannah's emails to Lena, their decision was unanimous. Guilty. Ryan Caldwell was sentenced to life without parole. 2 weeks later, hikers near the quarry discovered shallow soil disturbance about 100 feet from the original search area. Forensics confirmed it. Hannah's remains were found. Her parents finally had closure. The funeral, held 6 months later, drew hundreds from across Maplewood. Her casket was adorned with white roses, the same kind meant for her wedding day. The case of the missing bride who texted "Don't come looking" left the entire town shaken. It wasn't just about a murder. It was about the betrayal of trust, the darkness that can hide behind a smile. Detective Ellen Morris later said in an interview, "Hannah didn't just go missing. Her voice was stolen. That's why it mattered to find her truth." In the years that followed, Hannah's story inspired new legislation in Vermont to improve early domestic abuse reporting systems. Her former students planted a memorial garden outside Maplewood Elementary with a plaque that reads, "In memory of Miss Pierce, who taught us to be kind, brave, and never stop looking for the truth." And for those who still drive by that old quarry, it's impossible not to remember the woman who vanished on the day she was meant to say "I do." Because sometimes, the most haunting words aren't screams or confessions. They're just 3 simple words that echo forever. Don't come looking. If you were moved by Emily's story, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe because every day, we uncover another truth behind the crime.